Hey, groovy morning. We are here taking a look at our third topic of geometry connections, and that would be the two formulas we all love to plug and chug with. We're going to take a look at first the midpoint formula. This is when you are going to be given two ordered pairs, and you are going to find the point ordered pair that is exactly halfway in between the two given points. We are then going to look at the distance formula, and that is going to calculate the straight line distance between 2 points on a coordinate plane. And then we will wrap things up with a couple of problems with words, known as word problems. All right, so the easy button formula, the midpoint formula, you are going to be given two ordered pairs. For instance, example 1, I have negative 3, 1 and 5, 3. If it helps you, go ahead and label those two ordered pairs. We have x1, x of the first ordered pair, y1, y of the first ordered pair, and then x of the second, y of the second. So to find the midpoint of these two ordered pairs, the ordered pair that's exactly halfway in between these two, I am going to take the average of your x values, meaning I'll add the x's together and divide by 2, comma, then I'll find the average of the y's, add the y's together, divide by 2. So I'm going to take negative 3 plus 5 over 2, comma, then I'll add my y's, 1 plus 3, and put that over 2. So we've got negative 3 plus 5, 5 minus 3 is 2, 2 divided by 2 is 1, and then 3 plus 1 is 4, 4 divided by 2 is 2. So there I have the ordered pair 1, 2 is halfway in between negative 3, 1 and 5, 3. My next set of ordered pairs here, I've got a whole bunch of negatives going on. So I'm going to add my x's. Negative 2 plus negative 4 is negative 6 divided by 2. And then I'll add negative 5 plus negative 3 is negative 8 over 2. Simplifying, negative 6 over 2 is negative 3, and negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. So negative 3, negative 4 is my midpoint. Finally, with example 3, we are going to have some decimal ordered pairs, and that is totally okay. Same process. I'm going to add my x's, 3 plus 8, and get 11. We'll divide that by 2 in just a second. Then I'll have 5 plus 4, which is 9 divided by 2. Simplifying, half of 11 is 5 and a half, so 5.5 is good with me, or if you want to write 5 and a half as a fraction, all good. And then 9 over 2 is 4 and a half. So there is my midpoint for 3, 5, and 8, 4. It would be 5 and a half to the right, up 4 and 1 half. We're going to take a continued field trip here to the distance formula. And the distance formula is a little more in-depth, and there's more crunching and munching going on here. More room to make a calculation error, so take your time. Again, we are going to have two ordered pairs, x1, y1, x2, and y2, and I am going to find the straight line distance between these 2 points. So I don't have to plot them. I can just use the algebraic formula here to compute that straight line distance. So I'm going to take the second x minus the first x. So I'm going to have 5 minus, careful, negative 3. So that'll become 5 plus 3. I will square that and then add it to the difference of my y's, y2 minus y1. Simplifying, I'll have 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 squared is 64. plus 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 squared is 4. So 64 plus 4 will have square root of 68. And now this is a non-perfect square. We know 64, its square root is 8. So it's going to be a little bit more than 8. So I'm going to pull out my handy-dandy calculator here and take 68 square root. You can leave it as square root of 68 if you'd like. I'm not, worried that, it's not, in simplified radical form. If you want to do that, go ahead. But I think the most meaningful, representation would be a decimal to the nearest hundredth, 2 decimal places. Like if you wanted to find the distance, like if you're talking miles or feet, you wouldn't want to tell somebody, it's the square root of 68 miles between these 2 cities. You'd want to approximate and say, well, it's a little bit more than 8, and in fact, it's about 8.25. So I've got my double squiggly approximately equal to 8.25. It's 8.246, so that 6 tells my 4 to bump up. All right, it's about as fun as a root canal, I hear you. Let's take a look at 2 more just for our health. We don't want anybody getting sick here doing the distance formula calculations. So I'm going to have x2 minus x1. So negative 4 minus negative 2. Again, that'll become a plus. I'll square that and then add that to y2 minus y1. So negative 3 minus negative 5. That'll become a plus as well, and I will square. So negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. Now be careful here. When I take negative 2 and square it, that becomes positive 4. Negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4. And then negative 3 plus 5 is a positive 2. 2 squared, again, is also a positive 4. So I have the square root of 8, which is approximately equal to, well, square root of 9 is 3, so it's going to be just under 3. So if I take 8's square root, I have 2.83 approximately. 2.828 will round up to 2.83. All right, the grand finale before we look at 2 problems with words, known as word problems. All right, let's roll them. We've got x2 minus x1, so I'll go 8 minus 3. Square it, and then add that to 4 minus 5. Square that. So I'm going to have 8 minus 3 is 5. 5 squared, 25. And I'll add that to 4 minus 5 is negative 1. Negative 1 squared is positive 1. So I've got the square root of 26, which is pretty close to 5. It's going to be just over 5, so let's compute that to the nearest hundredth. 26 has a square root of 5.099. So we'll say about 5.10. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. I'm definitely happy. All right, let's take a look at the 2 word problems here, and I do not have them written all the way out, so I'll just read and rock and roll. So we've got the segment AB is the diameter of a circle. So if we take a look here, we've got a rough sketch of a circle. So we've got point A, point B, so AB is the diameter of a circle. So diameter, again, is a segment that goes from one end of the circle to the other through the middle. We're told that the coordinates of A are 5, 6. So there's 5, 6, and then point B is -3, -2. We want to know what is the center of the circle. What are the coordinates for the circle's center? We'll call it point C. Well, if AB is a segment that goes from one end of the circle to the other through the center of the circle, I can find the coordinates of the center by finding the midpoint, the point that is exactly halfway in between 5, 6 and -3, -2. So point C, which is equivalent to M, the midpoint, would be adding my x values together. So -3 plus 5, dividing by 2, and then adding my y's, -2 plus 6, dividing by 2. So 5 minus 3 is 2, 2 divided by 2 is 1, and then -2 and 6, 6 minus 2 is 4, 4 divided by 2 is 2. So the center of the circle would be at 1, 2. Not too bad. Last one here, we have a large building is on fire. So there's my fire. Look at that, I've even got a red marker. Isn't that exciting? There's my building on fire. I'll switch back to the black color to represent my fire stations. Fire trucks from 2 stations respond. One station is 2 miles east. So there's 2 miles east and 3 miles north. And then the other station is 1 mile west and 4 miles south. So here are the 2 stations. And we want to know how far apart are the 2 fire stations, the straight line distance. So there's 2 ways you could do it. I'll show you both. One would be, the easier way, I think, would be to use your Pythagorean theorem and draw your combined triangle. So there's my right triangle. Here's station 1, station 2. So I'm trying to find this distance. My total distance traveled east and west would be 1 and 2, total of 3. And then north and south would be 4 and 3, 7. So then you could go 3 squared plus 7 squared equals c squared. 3 squared is 9, 7 squared, 49. That'll equal c squared. 58 will equal c squared. Square root both sides, and then square root of 58, we can round that to the nearest hundredth again. So will that be at about 7.62 miles. The other way is thinking of your fire as 0, 0, like the origin, and then station 1 being 2 to the right, up 3, and then station 2 at 1 to the left, down 4. So 2, 3, and -1, -4, and then using that distance formula. So we'd have x2 minus x1, -1 minus 2, squared added to -4 minus 3 squared. Simplifying, I'd have -1 minus 2 is -3, -3 squared is +9, and we'll add that to Negative 4 minus 3, negative 7. Negative 7 squared is positive 49. So either way you slice it, 9 and 49 is 58. Square root of 58, we said, is about 7.62 miles. So either way is groove A. Enjoy your crunchin' and munchin', and have a superb day.